5, 4, 3, 2, 1, disco. Hello Libra, welcome to your horoscope for the full moon in Virgo. This is happening on the 7th of March at 11:42 p.m. if you're in the Southern Hemisphere with me, and it's also the final lunation that we have for this trip around the wheel. If we think about Pisces as the sign that is the culmination of a cycle, the ending, we think of Aries as the beginning of a brand new one. And Aries season's only 2 weeks away. So this full moon in Virgo is capping off everything that perhaps we've come to learn and understand about ourselves over the past year, absolutely. But it's also in a very auspicious coupling with another transit, another ingress in our astrological world. Saturn, the planet of boundaries and restriction and lessons, is finally moving from Aquarius into the sign Pisces. This is happening on, in the Southern Hemisphere, it's not the same day. In the Northern it is. The 7th of March is really where we're looking at. Saturn moves into Pisces several hours after the full moon in Virgo. And so what I want you to do is gently, with no need to trigger yourself, but have a think about March of 2020. This was when Saturn moved into Aquarius. And so we kind of can have a collective chuckle, can't we, if we think March 2020. We know what boundaries and restriction and limits humanity was going through at this time. I think if we think Saturn can be restriction, boundary, gag order, all of that kind of stuff, it can also be lessons. What have we learned in this time from March of 2020 to now? And in these final moments, this last hurrah of Saturn in Aquarius at this full moon, what are we being reminded of to bring with us into Pisces? For you, Libra, Pisces rules the 6th house, I believe, and this is where we enact ritual, daily rhythm. It's where we find our meditative state and how we go through with it in our lives. How we chop the wood and it's sacred. How we gather the water and it's sacred, before and after enlightenment. So what I feel here, Libra, is that the limitations to your self-expression that you've been experiencing over the last 3 years, and this could be, it could be as simple as like a creative block, as sort of as not knowing perhaps where you're going to go next. That could be one thing. It also could be something to do with leaving an environment that you can't be yourself in. This is more interesting to me, I think, Libra. I think if we do our best, hold on tight, love and kiss, be bathed in the moon's light on the 7th of March. For you, Libra, Virgo is your 12th house. So this is your unconscious realm. This is the beautiful, magical house of the limitless possibilities of spiritual work. And so you can have a lovely moment with that moon, and you can really allow your access to spirit land to wash over you in whatever way that shows up for you. Whatever spirituality you have for yourself is the right one. as long as there's no dogmatic principles in your way that have you doctoring yourself, your true essence, as long as you can feel welcome in that worship, then by all means you do it. But allow this moment with the full moon to have impact on your spirituality, to have impact on your ability to roll in that language and in that world, that dimension. And then really have another audience with Saturn and thank them for the urgency, thank them for the 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th draft that you've had to write in your expressive work, in your creative work. Recognize how those limitations, how those boundaries potentially had you been able to zero in on your truer essence, your truer idea of what it is that you are trying to say, what with your work, your creative work, or with your the fifth house is quite simply our perspective. How do we express what we're coming to realize about life itself? It's quite lofty, isn't it? I know that the fifth house is creative, so there's a lot of like expressive qualities there too. And so that limitation of Saturn from March of 2020 to now, what can you take with you from that, and how can you then reactivate your daily ritual? What is your day going to look like from now on, morning till night? And you wake up until you go to sleep. How are you going to live your life to its to a potential that honors who you really are, apart from what was expected of you, or what you probably felt that you shouldn't say, maybe in certain company, what you shouldn't talk about because it was a bit dorky or a bit out there or whatever. I think that what I see for you, Libra, is a real commitment here. I think that if we think about Saturn, we can definitely say commitment as well. Saturn is here to remind us. I want you to think about, if you can, to think about 30 years ago. Now, so some folks 30 years ago is there's more of an ability to recall than others, But the last time that Saturn was in Pisces was 30 years ago. And so maybe if you can just have a little bit of a contemplate as to what rules and restrictions were present in your life, your daily life at that time, and notice how they've changed. Or if there's something that potentially you could reinvigorate in your ritual of the day. We're entering into this new cycle with Aries. Pisces is the last, Aries is the first. The beginning of this new cycle. And we have some really gorgeous astrology to cap all of this off. There's going to be some confronting stuff as we move forward. The eclipses for this year will be in Libra and Aries at some points of the year. And so as far as your soul purpose and your relationships, there's going to be influence that we're going to deal with. We're going to deal with it beautifully. But right now, there's a little party happening in Aries. We've got Venus and Chiron and Jupiter and Vesta and Juno, actually, all there in Aries. And so I think, to break it down to its simplest terms, Jupiter and Chiron are going to be forming a conjunction, I think, on the 13th of March, so a few days after this moon, maybe a week after. And I see that this is going to be such a profound moment of healing for you, Libra. We know that Aries is your 7th house, where we come into relationship with other folks, where we name our nearest and dearest. And so if there's been pain there for you, Chiron might echo that. Chiron's the wounded healer, remember? And Jupiter is the planet that expands everything and zooms in on it and offers solutions, optimistic solutions. So on the 13th of March, a week after this full moon, there's going to be that moment for you. And I wonder if this is going to help jettison you forward into the new rhythm of your life, the new sixth house ritual. Saturn will be there for the next few years as well, so it's going to be a great period of like commitment, I think is the word that's coming quite clearly to me. You know, you're sort of committing to this new lifestyle, this new way of being, this new way of seeing things, of showing up and existing in this life. Remember, Pisces is the magical one. Pisces brings the magic to everything that it touches. So for Libra, you know, your daily life, there's a lot of coincidence and synchronicity in there, I imagine. And I got the Hermit straight up, Libra. And so this is Virgo energy. This is the one that has had to steal away from society to open the portal and to absorb the lessons from the ether, from the magical realms, from under the rocks, from the bird song, from the smell of the fire. They've taken themselves away from the group, but not to shut in, not to sort of ostracize themselves. They've taken themselves away so they can learn and they can translate all of that information into something practical. I love how backwards you are, Libra. You've got an opposite chart to, I guess, the collective group. If we say that Aries is the first, well, in fact, you're the first on your birth chart. And so Pisces for you is the 6th, and Virgo is the 12th. Normally it's the other way around. I see that there's a lot of magic in your daily ritual. And I want you to be proud of that. I really want you to allow some of this, and it may do, there may, you know, healing's a process, you know, and pain in the 7th can be really some of the most difficult pain to surmount when it comes to relationships, when it comes to people that we really care about. And there's been fractures that can sometimes be reflected back in how we feel about ourselves too, right? I got some lovely cards. I got the Hanged One, which is Pisces. They're not in bondage here. Looks like they are, strung up by one leg, but they've allowed themselves. I mean, look at this, like a kind of Pisces and Virgo right here. They're both after the similar things. They're both, this one's calling it in, this one has it running through them. Their mind is expanded. They know what they're looking for. I also got 2 cards that have been showing up for other folks too. I got the 6 of Swords and I got the Magician. So the 6 of Swords, this is the last hurrah of Saturn in Aquarius. We're going forward, we're seeking out, we're leaving this emotional turbulence, this choppy water. We're seeking a clearing, we're seeking somewhere calming and soothing for us, where we can wash our hair in the stream and not get carried away by it, where we can rest in order to start creating some of our magical work. This is so lovely, Libra. I'm really proud of you for these decisions that you're making. I'm really proud of you for standing on your own 2 feet and choosing the pathway that will best serve your happiness. and your growth. Perhaps there's been things that you've really needed to say goodbye to, but I want to bring out the 9 of Pentacles in this reading too. The moon's happening at 16 degrees of Virgo. The tarot card for that decan is the 9 of Pentacles. There's a sense of autonomy in this card. There's a sense of having everything that one could possibly need because they've grown it themselves. And they've got a lovely moment in the sunshine to sit and reflect at all of the hard work that they've gone through, that they've achieved, that they've committed to in their life. And at this point, I mean, let's crack open a bottle of Chardonnay and let's allow that warmth to permeate our skin. You're onto a good thing, Libra. I can really sense it quite clearly. And I think that definitely as we approach this coming month and this coming year and prepare ourselves for those eclipses in Libra and in Aries, we can use this image of Virgo, this image of the Hermit, as a grounding source of support for us. If Virgo's in your 12th house, then you can feel safe in your spirit work. The 12th can sometimes be confronting for folks, and it can be a place they'd much rather not look at. But I feel that you're just getting started, Libra. I think if you can think about that clay, think about your ankles being engulfed in that clay in the 12th house, knowing that you're here on earth for a purpose, and open that portal. Allow some of that knowing to come through you. So much love to you, Libra. That was a lovely reading. Head to umaruby.com and get your birth chart read by me. There's a list of readings there. There's many different pathways we could go down, many different perspectives that we can look at your chart. Also head to buymeacoffee.com/umaruby if you'd like to put some tip money in the jar. It's always very much appreciated. And I'll be speaking to you in 2 weeks for the new moon in Aries. So this will be a point of manifestation for your 7th house, a place where you can call in your next dear relationships and celebrate and be thankful for the ones that remain. Take care, Libra. Bye.